Welcome back, people. If you haven't seen my videos before, go check some of them out. You'll start to learn a lot of stuff about our flat earth, because this is all flat earth philosophy, the truth about our realm we live in. Today I've got a few other aspects of how the model works through reading some ancient Egyptian information about the Benu bird. At the Benu bird's head, eye of the crocodile, knee joint. So the Egyptians are calling it the Benu bird because they're describing the whole sun system, the Benu bird. You got the so let's just run over a couple of things here. This is the southern hemisphere out here, northern hemisphere this side. So you got the Arctic centre here. It's a toroidal field. The centre of the core is here, the Arctic centre. Okay, so it's all north right up to the tropical gap of Cancer, and then your southern field is out here. This is just a slice taken out of the whole circle. So I've explained this plenty of times before, how we get the hydrogen molecules of the moving water below Earth coming up, seeking low pressure, rising up to the tropical gap, expanding. So that's it. So all this part here is described in the Benu bird's body. These are the two legs. So in the Benu bird, long beak in that, it's his head. So that's the legs. This is describing the body. Then it goes to the choke point over with its beak. So no, actually, it's the other way around. The beak comes into here actually. This beak, this part here, goes into the tropical zone. So all this part is back at the Arctic centre, and that goes over the tropical gap. Now you need to realise that pure plasma is transparent. You do not see it. We don't see any of this anyway because it's outside of our realm. It's the Arctic centre is in here, up to here. We're in here. So we find this very high pressure if we try to travel north. A lot of pressure. You know, guys struggling to get through the freezing cold when they're going through the snow and ice and winds, because they're coming across this high pressure zone. We're held in here. We're held in here. We sort of see it the other way around, where we're under pressure. We are, but it works vice versa when you're trying to get out. This is why it's so flippin' cold out there, because what happens is when these hydrogen molecules rise, they start going through the cold, the freeze, they expand. That's how we get gas. Just look up how a fridge works, how the gas expands and then contracts back in to create the whole fridge idea system. It's the same system. So an expanding in the gases, right? And this is why we can never get out, because you know, if you flew up in an aeroplane, you'd have to keep in the pressure, keep pumping in the pressure to keep the expansion, all the pressure as you rise. There's more and more pressure, more and more pressure. But it's so flippin' dangerous, at any time it just go bang if you didn't have it equalised with the atmospheric layers, and boom, there's no way they'd send anyone up in a rocket. You can't get out of this area here, but if you were to go into La La Land, if you could dream about it, you shoot straight towards the sun, and then you come down through the Milky Way here, through the black hole, you'd be recycled that way. Nothing survives, of course. You can't do it. It's just pie in the sky bullshit, you know. So the hydrogen molecules rising up to the tropics, expanding as they rise to end up shredding, separating their energy bands. People don't like me using electrons and protons. So electrons are waves of various energy bands. You see, all these layers are like waves of energy as you elevate with different pressure zones, different periodic tables, like it's the 7 noble gases up through there. separated. And this is what's happening to all these molecules. They're getting expanding and separating into all the periodic table elements and stuff. And then they get re-emerged, like two protons forming the plasma, or the electrons getting together to find equilibrium to feed the black hole. It's back here. So this is the Benu bird. Comes out of the Arctic centre vortex. Comes off the Arctic basin. We can't get in there. High pressure, trying to get in there. You die. You just can't get in there. And in the centre, so imagine the big vortex, and it's been sucked up to the centre where the plasma has been created. It sucks up to this internal vortex, which is hollow, creates a hollow core, which creates the resonant frequencies, creates the frequencies of life. Earth is created from the sound. That place of equilibrium is dead still in the centre of the hole. That's why Earth is fixed and stationary. It comes from the place of rest. But all this action around it shoots up towards the cold fusion plasma, room temperature, freezing cold down here, still being rushed to this room temperature plasma. Transparent. Black hole around it, in front of it. The sun is on the horizon of the black hole. So this is the Benu bird's head. That's his long beak. This beak goes over to the tropical gap. And this is how we see the image of the sun. Due to the atmospheric layers and everything, it basically forms the photon, so we see the image through the light spectrum of all the layers. So we get an image of the sun. And what's happening, if I'd moved it over and put it there like that and made this the Arctic centre, it would have been good, but I didn't draw it that way. What's happening is where the sun moves around, so the sun is one end of this is tucked into the Milky Way central Arctic vortex, and it's just turning, right? So imagine this is the top of the vortex. The Milky Way is sitting over it like this. It's the knee joint there, as it comes over here. As this turns, this is turning too. The whole thing turns, right? That's your 24-hour day. That's the Milky Way, and that's the sun going around the tropical zone of the flat Earth. And wherever the sun is, the magnetic field is rushing to the sun and spinning around the sun. This is why you see the snakes tucked around the sun disk on the Egyptians' heads, ancient Egyptians. And that feeds back into here. That gets drawn into here. So you get this system being sucked back this way. It's not flowing out that way. That's just sent the image of the sun out that way. But the electron to the magnetic field around the sun are being sucked in here, the warm tropical zone. So there's your warmth and here's the cold. It finds equilibrium with the electrons, and bang, the sun is created. It's perfection. Realise the sun was a star. Okay? How it got there will be in a book I write one day. So the Egyptians describe it as the Benu bird's head, or the eye of the crocodile, which is in the Milky Way. That's the eye of the crocodile in the Milky Way. You know, you only need half a brain to look at the Milky Way and the night sky photography, good photography. You know it's the back of the sun. It's the back of the sun. It all adds up with the flat Earth design. They won't tell you that because it completely destroys the whole globe bullshit. You realise the back of the sun, you're seeing this side at night. You've got that big flare inside, big bulge inside there. It's the back of the sun. Well, it's around here, sorry. Because daylight shines, day is across the black hole. Because it's the amplifier of the frequencies. Creates the light in that. pupil and the receiver of the sun's frequencies. What? The sun is the pupil, the receiver of the sun's frequency. Yeah, our pupil. This is where everything looks round and small up there in the sky. You go like that, that's how big the sun is. So do with your pupil. The ecliptic plane is the iris. The atmosphere is layered, gaseous layers, frequency layers, electron waves, waves of water basically, moisture. Water's above, water's below. Spiral is due to the sun because this spinning creates a vortex rushing up to the heat. Warm rushing into the cold creates the spin. That's what turns the vortex. And then the vortex turns the whole Milky Way around the Earth, flat Earth. So to then draw into the magnetic field choke point, the compression, confinement zone to form the plasma of the sun in the same time as feeding the black hole of equilibrium and balance, the perfect resonant frequency. All life is through frequency. So this Earth is created here, the state of equilibrium, right in the centre of the black hole. Okay? Celestial equator. Just bring that over and stick it in there. That's where you see the sun. So down and out, eh? Down and out. So the sun is stationary at all times around the centre of the black hole. I shouldn't say stationary, but it doesn't move up or down. It just goes around the horizon. See, this is rolling. This whole Milky Way rolls around the flat Earth. It's all described in the Egyptian book there. So the sun is moving, you know, with the Milky Way. It's the whole thing, like stuck there, it's rolling around. But there's a little creep between the sun and the Milky Way. It's the precession of the equinoxes, moving in the Milky Way a little bit. And understanding that the sun laps the stars. Some guys aren't getting it. They think the stars lap the sun. That's what you're told in science, but it's bullshit. You see, all the stars, the whole vortex is the female. Okay? It's the female, you got the male inside it. So, you've got this movement going on. You got the vortex and you got the sun. So there has to be friction between the two. And the friction's horizontal in here, but sort of vertically in our realm. So you got the vortex, the sun has to move to create the friction within inside, you know, this Milky Way has to move to create the friction inside the female. It doesn't help explain it, does it? Because you could say it goes the other way, but it doesn't. The sun is in the centre, it's the quickest. The vortex is out here, these are the background stars. All the energy comes out of here. How can the stars out here have more energy than the centre core? It's just ridiculous. It does not work that way. The sun has all the energy. It's on the inside track of the racetrack, right on the inside track. It's got all the energy, and then it all spreads out like this. Just the way our Earth works. Everything expands outward, becomes weaker. The weaker field is out in the southern hemisphere. Same thing in here. How can you go and tell me the flippin' stars lap the sun over a year? They do not. You can tell end of the Orion's belt season when the sun starts drawing on the belt. The belt starts disappearing earlier and earlier. Okay? Because earlier on the year it just goes straight down over the horizon, you don't see it. But if you're up at night or early in the morning, you start seeing it come this way because the sun's catching up to it. It's west. The sun starts rising, catching up to it. You can see it there. So, knee joint is in the iliad. We call this the knee joint. And it is a knee, isn't it? Look at it. And the eye of the crocodile and the Milky Way and the Benu bird in ancient Egyptian. You've got the Benu bird legs. The body is expansion. Then it goes through the choke point. This point here. So this gets drawn up to this choke point. And boom, the plasma is created, so it explodes here a bit where the head is. And but we see it out here as an image. Photons, protons or plasma. That's about it, guys. Electrons, magnetic field. So that, you know, it's forever going like this, flowing like this. Getting pulled down into the earth. Crossing over and going back up, doing it again. So they come down, they basically, yeah, they just keep flowing. But then some gets drawn into the sun here, spinning around the sun here, where the sun is. The sun is moving around. If you want to check this video out, guys, share it. There's another Kiwi. He's gone and he watches my videos. He's gone and made the model. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's the end of it. Oh, look, there it is. That's how it works. The centre is the northern hemisphere. They're all the southern hemispheres. There's no actual southern hemisphere. So I looked this up.
Time and moving clockwise.
Tropical zodiac. Look, see if you can see that.
Heavens. And
tropical zodiac accurate perspective model.
Where Sigma Octantis would be. So this model is only showing 6 perspective.
Tropical zodiac accurate perspective model. Full stop. All is atum, A-T-U-M, /dash atom.
Thank you very much for watching.
He's done a beautiful job of aligning all the zodiacs signs. As the centre turns, it spins all the southern field. But there's plenty of southern field. They're everywhere because every man has an arc of horizon. He'll get his perspective north to south. That's his view of Sigma Octantis. That's his view. That's his view. But they've all slightly rotated more as you go around, as you start looking out around the south. We'll go back that way. It's going back that way, isn't it? And there was another video. That was the other celestial navigation video. So yeah, he's done a great job there. You want to get into that and share it so everyone knows how the system works. Thanks for watching. That's all I can think of at the moment. Give us a likes up.